If you are looking to play at 1440p resolution, I will show you 3 different gaming PCs for 3 different budgets. All of them will perform excellent at 1440p and also at 1080p and 4K. I will explain to you the estimated performance at every resolution on these PCs. That way you know the level of performance that you're getting for every resolution. You will have the links to all of these PCs plus a bonus one that I will mention at the end of the video down below in the description. With that being said, let's start. With the first one, we have the mid-range 1440p gaming PC build. This one is around $800, and as I said before, at the end you will have a bonus system that's cheaper than this, so don't worry if you have a lower budget than this one. This PC comes with the AMD Ryzen 5 5600 for the CPU and the RX 6800 for the GPU with 16 gigs of VRAM, which is a lot for 1440p, and it's also a 4K capable system. For the rest of the components, we get 32 gigs of RAM, which is going to be amazing for streaming and gaming, 1TB of SSD, which is the standard. Then we get the Fantex Eclipse G300A with 3 pre-installed fans. This is a beautiful case for just $45 with 3 pre-installed fans, so you don't have to spend extra money on more fans. And then we have a 600W 80+ gold semi-modular power supply, a B550 Pro 4 motherboard with enough gaming features, and an aftermarket CPU cooler for lower temps and a more quiet gaming experience. The RX 6800 on a 15 game average at 1440p resolution, it was able to average over 90 FPS, which is a really high number considering in these 15 games, not only easy to run titles were tested, but also hard demanding titles, for example Hogwarts Legacy. So of course, if you want to play games like Fortnite, Valorant or CS2, you will be able to achieve 200 plus FPS all the time. So if you want a 1440p 144Hz monitor, feel free to buy one. And then the same GPU at 1080p was able to average over 120 FPS and around 55 FPS on average at 4K resolution. And remember, this is high to ultra settings, so if you lower the graphics settings, you can achieve 60 plus FPS on average in most titles at 4K resolution without any issues. As I said before, the total price is around $800. By the time that I'm recording this video is $815, and if you want this PC to be under $800, you can stick to the stock cooler from AMD and save up around $18 by not buying an aftermarket CPU cooler, and that's completely fine. With the next system, we have the high-end 1440p gaming PC build. This one is about $1,150, which is a perfect price point in terms of price to performance when it comes to 1440p gaming. This one has the Ryzen 5 7600 for the CPU, which is from the latest AM5 platform, so you get a more upgradable system over time. And then you get the RX 7800 XT for the GPU, which is about 20% faster in rasterized performance than the RX 6800 I've mentioned before, but it's even faster considering the CPU is faster than the Ryzen 5 5600, so overall you are getting a much faster gaming experience with AV1 encoding as well, which is going to be helpful if you're going to do streaming on YouTube, since the AV1 encoder has a much better streaming quality. Not only that, but for the rest of the components, you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory instead of DDR4. You also get a 750W power supply instead of a 650W one, and this one is A-tier rated, meaning that it's the best quality out there. And on top of that, you get 2TB of Gen 3 SSD instead of 1TB, which is helpful if you're going to be installing a bunch of titles. On top of that, you get a better aftermarket CPU cooler in the Deepcool HE400, which is going to be helpful for our Ryzen 5 7600. As I said before, the price is $1,140, and if you have a lower budget of around $1,000, you will have another bonus PC in the description. However, I do recommend you spending the extra $100 to $150 to get this PC instead, since you are getting a much better platform than if you were to spend around $1,000 where you have to get the AM4 platform instead of the AM5 one. Another thing I did with this system is add one case fan, which is going to match every other fan in the Fantex Eclipse G300A I have mentioned before. And for you to see the performance in the same 15 game average I have mentioned, the 7800 XT was able to average over 108 FPS compared to the 93 FPS from the 6800, over 60 FPS at 4K resolution high to ultra settings, and over 147 FPS at 1080p resolution. And then with the fastest for 1440p, and I would recommend you buying this one for this resolution. Anything more than this, I think it's an overkill, and I would recommend it for 4K, but this one is the limit for 1440p with the Ryzen 7 7700 for the CPU and the RTX 4070 Ti for the GPU. You can also consider the RX 7900 XT instead of the 4070 Ti. It is slightly faster than the 4070 Ti in terms of rasterized performance, and it has more VRAM. which is helpful for 4K resolution in case you want to upgrade down the line. But the 4070 Ti has a better level of ray tracing, it has DLSS 3, which might be interesting for you if you're going to use upscaling on the latest AAA titles, and some games work better with Nvidia GPUs. So I do recommend you the 4070 Ti, but maybe your favorite titles work better with AMD, and also if you just care about rasterized performance, then the AMD GPU is going to be the better option. You will have the 7900 XT alternative as well in the description, but I do recommend the 4070 Ti, and it's the current GPU I have on my system. You will have my video on the 4070 Ti benchmark in the top right of the screen. Here you are getting a maxed out 1440p gaming experience. On that same test we've seen before, on the 15 game average at 1440p high to ultra settings, the 4070 Ti was able to average over 128 FPS compared to the 108 FPS from the 7800 XT, so about 20 extra FPS on average, then over 170 FPS at 1080p resolution and over 70 FPS at 4K. The rest of the components are almost the same, except for the CPU cooler, where I went with the HG400 again, but this time the RGB version. Every other component is going to be the same as the last one. And then, as I said at the beginning, here you have the bonus PC for $675 by the time I'm recording this video, where you get the AMD Ryzen 5 5500 and the RX 6700 XT. For the rest of the components, you get the same Fantex Eclipse case, you get 16 gigs of DDR4 memory, a 1TB SSD, B550 motherboard, and a 550 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, which is amazing quality for this type of build. With this build, you can expect 70 plus FPS on average at 1440p high to ultra settings in most games. If you're going to play easy to run titles, you can expect even 144 plus FPS, but if you want to play really high demanding titles, you can also expect 60 to 70 FPS depending on the graphics settings and the title. Overall, great entry level for 1440p resolution, and you can even get away with less than this depending on the titles that you play. So as I said before, you will have more alternatives in the description for 1440p resolution, and you will have the information there as well in case you want to see what those gaming PCs are capable of doing for the price. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I will be making a Black Friday video once again for PC builds, but if you buy now, these deals are amazing, and I don't think they will be getting even better discounts. So if you want to buy now, I think it's an amazing choice, but if you want to wait 1 week or so, then it's your decision. But I cannot tell you whether or not these components are going to go down in price, or they are going to stay the same, or maybe they will be eventually out of stock. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.